listeners, and welcome back to The Good Pod. Today I'm joined by someone who holds a lot of the why and the how behind everything we do, Rami, our village case manager. If you want to know what it really looks like to transition from the streets to a thriving life in a community, Rami is the person with the answers. With an extensive career in social services long before she joined us, Rami brings a wealth of experience and a steady hand to our team. She is a navigator, an advocate, and a friend to so many here, including myself. Rami, welcome to The Good Pod.
Thank you.
So you have some history in the nonprofit world. So what are some of the key roles that you held before Goodness Village, and how would you say that those experiences prepared you for our community?
Well, I worked for Catholic Charities and St. Vincent de Paul most recently, and also volunteered for them for many years. I worked as a case manager at both places. At Catholic Charities, I worked with refugees and immigrants primarily who were coming to this country and were super new to absolutely everything, and, who have themselves experienced homelessness internationally, right? Especially after wars and, being displaced. And in many cases, they didn't speak English and had sort of additional baggage, would you say, I guess, that we had to kind of work on. And I also worked with HIV patients, people who in San Francisco who were diagnosed with AIDS and HIV, and provided services to them, and a homeless population in Alameda County and Contra Costa County, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that experience with diverse populations helped me here quite a bit, because our neighbors come from all kinds of different backgrounds with different life stories. And, it helped me sort of be prepared for just anything, So.
Amazing. It's so reassuring to hear that you've worked with so many people. And I remember when you first started, just knowing how much experience you already had was like a sigh of relief for everybody, because it's like, it's hard to explain some of the stories that we hear and some of the stuff that people may go through, but you've already been in those shoes before. So it really helps to make everyone feel a little more comfortable that you're able to handle those situations a little better.
Yeah, but there's always room to grow, right?
Of course.
And there's always like a space to learn new things.
Mm-hmm.
And things are always changing and evolving, with health insurances, with,
Mm-hmm.
Different political states, and, and how we navigate all of that. It's always changing. So there's always room to grow and to learn.
Mm-hmm. And as someone who's also been a case manager, you're right, things change all the time. So how would you describe, for people who may not be familiar, how would you describe what a case manager does at Goodness Village compared to a case manager maybe at a shelter?
Here in Goodness Village, I think what we do is we deal with a smaller number of people, right? Mm-hmm. And we're involved in their lives constantly. We're here 24/7. Well, not me, but so we're here. We're their community. We're their family, friends, everything. And so we're a little bit more involved, I think. So for example, when I worked for Catholic Charities, my clients would schedule appointments. They would come in, we would deal with a certain situation, they would leave, and then come back again when they need me. And there was some sort of like disconnect always. Here, there's so much connection between support services and case manager and our neighbors. We deal with situations in the living room sometimes while watching something on TV. So that's the there's always some sort of a flow happening. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that I've seen in terms of like what I used to do and what I do now. Even when, I worked and volunteered for St. Vincent de Paul in Oakland, they have a shelter, they have a kitchen for homeless population. We see these people come in and then, we help them with a few things and then they leave.
Mm-hmm.
I think here there's a bigger sense of community. It's almost like you feel more responsible for their lives and more involved in neighbors' lives, in some ways. That disconnect doesn't happen necessarily, right? Obviously, neighbors are in charge of what in charge of their own lives and what they want from us and what they need from us, and they, but there's definitely a bigger connection between the support staff and case manager, for example, and the neighbors than in other places. And there's more of a like community, and
And it's also different because we are working where they live.
Yeah.
Like you said, at your previous places, somebody would leave and maybe they wouldn't come back for a month or 2 months, or you might never see them again. But here it's like, I'm coming here Monday through Friday. I know this person's going to be here because they're here all the time.
Yeah.
So it really helps with that community aspect.
It does.
Could you explain to our listeners what it is like when a new neighbor moves in? Like, what are those first few conversations like?
Obviously, we try to, collect the basic information, their medications, their health insurances, their, past, what they want in their present and what they want for, what their plans are for the future. So those are definitely some of the first conversations that we always have with our neighbors. But it's also about just trying to connect with that human being on sort of just a human level, just, hey, who are you? What do you, what do you want me to be in your life? How do you want me to help you? So it's just, I love that our first conversations actually happen often at the picnic tables. So open space, open sort of, just let the conversation flow sometimes. Obviously, we collect the basic information that they need us to collect in case there is emergency, for example, some sort of, emergency. But it's, it's about trying to figure out, how do we connect? How do we help you? What do we do to, be there for you? So.
And there are a lot of neighbors who feel like they have been let down by the system in their past. So building rapport can be kind of hard sometimes because they've had numerous case managers tell them, I'm here to help you, I'm here to do this for you, and kind of fall short. So how would you say that you work to build trust with someone who's constantly been let down by people who have been in our shoes before?
Oh, it takes forever. It's not a 1 day, 1 month, 1 year kind of thing. It takes forever, and it depends really. It depends on the neighbor. It depends on what's going on around us at that time. What's the funding out there for, certain things, food or whatever it is that they need. But, I think we all kind of pitch in trying to build this, trust and rapport and everything. I think a lot of these activities that we do here really help. I've noticed so many times that even if there are certain, neighbors who have more problems or who have more sort of problems connecting with us or anybody really, once these activities happen, and what I mean by activities is painting pine cones, talking about books, watching a movie, or whatever it is, playing a game, a lot of these things, the connection happens. And then it's easier tomorrow when we have to go and make a phone call to their eligibility worker, or whatever it is that we need to do, but it takes a village, and it takes a long time. It's not something, for some people, obviously. For others, it's much easier. But for those of our neighbors who have experienced awful things in their lives, might take some more time.
And some of our listeners may not know this, but we do have a lot of staff-led activities here. Like Rami mentioned, the pine cone painting ornament activity we had last Christmas. We have game nights every Monday that she always gets to see. We have soup Sundays and movie nights all the time. So that really helps, in addition to having a small team. So it's a little more tight-knit to help build with that community. So our listeners may see us celebrating a neighbor with a new job or reconnecting with family. So like the big wins, but what would you say are some of the small wins that they may not know about?
You know what? Small wins are more important sometimes. It's just, getting, let's say, for example, getting more people interested in our book/movie club, sitting down and just, talking about anything and laughing. I had a difficult day a couple of days ago, and, things were happening, and, two of our neighbors were there, and I was like, I need to sit down with them and connect with them. And that's what I did. And we were, by the end of like a 15-minute conversation about anything and everything, we were all just laughing like crazy. And that was, to me, a small win for me, for my day, and for their day too. So, just connecting with our neighbors, I guess, is, to me, a big win, a small big win, I guess.
And you're coming up on 1 year in May. Is that correct?
Oh my God.
But in that almost 1 year, what is one moment or interaction with one of the neighbors that's really stuck with you so far?
Actually, that pine cone painting, I was doing that with one of our neighbors who, we kind of had a few days that were kind of rough, but that day was perfect.
Nice.
I'm not sure what we did, but she and I just had a good time.
I remember that day vividly, and it was a great time. And we made such beautiful pine cones that day.
Yeah.
But I like that you brought that up, because it's not always about paperwork or phone calls or difficult, traumatic conversations. Sometimes it's just about sitting and crafting together or watching a movie together. And that builds almost the same amount of connection as having that difficult conversation or having that hard phone call.
Yeah.
And we talk a lot about empowerment here at the Village. As a matter of fact, that's our value of the month. But how would you say that you balance giving somebody the support that they need, but also helping them be autonomous and take the lead in their own life? Because we want to make sure that our neighbors are independent, but also know that we're here to support them.
That's a really hard one, because I'm someone who likes to get things done, and I like to do things for people. And it's a super difficult sort of path to walk, because I want things to be done and perfect for our neighbors, but they might not want that at that point in their life. Maybe they want something else. And so recognizing, and that's the first step, just recognizing that it's okay if they don't want to complete that task today or whatever it is, I have for every single neighbor, I have so many plans and so many, like, every time I see them, I'm like, we could maybe do this. But, I have to just let them do it, come to me and tell me what they want, right? For some people, honestly, empowerment is observing and letting them make phone calls to whatever it is, and just sitting there as support, right? For other people, it might be sitting there while they're scheduling their ride to a doctor, and then watching them being so happy that they did it on their own. Like they will not tell you, but you can see it, that they're, my God, they did this. They made this phone call to, a transportation service or, a doctor or whatever it is. For other neighbors, it's just, hey, can you use your phone? Why don't you use your phone? And, things like that are just like basic little things that we sort of take for granted. For some people that's super important. In some cases, it's helping them realize that it's okay to be in mental health therapy for, this, it's okay. And it actually helps. Can you believe it?
Right.
It helps, there are so many different ways to, and I don't think I want them to empower themselves and to realize, oh, I did that myself, not my case manager, not anybody else. I did it myself, and that's the empowerment really, when they realize, hey, I can do this, So yeah, but it's hard. It's hard to just, because I would love them to just like, hey, you can do that. Let me help you. So yeah.
And then let me help you quickly turns into, let me just do it for you. And then you're completely taking it out of their hands.
That's not the way to, this morning I had somebody who had to make some appointments, and we used her phone, and I let her, guide the other person on the other line and tell them everything, all the information. She got a little bit, hesitant. She didn't know how to explain a certain situation. So I took over a little bit, but then, so yeah.
And yeah, I can understand that. Like, please just understand that this is what's best for you, but recognizing that they have to be ready for it.
Yeah.
They have to want it because it's their life at the end of the day. And we're just here to support.
Yeah.
Before we get into the last part of the show, I have a segment that I created for you called The Roadmap. And it is for our listeners to get to know you a little better. And it's just a couple of quick, fun questions. So just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear these.
Oh my God. Fun.
Since you love NPR, what's your must-listen show or podcast when you're commuting?
Actually, I don't have a lot. I don't listen to podcasts that much. I really listen to NPR religiously every day on the radio because I'm old. Don't tell anybody. No, I'm serious. I, besides you guys.
Thank you.
I do listen to, I don't have a lot of time, honestly. So I listen to NPR religiously every single morning on my way here, because it gives me so many, stories that I can, or, so much information that I can actually use. And it just makes you think. Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you for that. What's the one thing on your desk you can't live without to get through a busy day?
Sticky notes.
Ooh, nice one. Different sizes or the same one?
Different sizes. Yeah.
Okay.
Sticky notes. I'm old.
No, I use sticky notes all the time.
My kids use sticky notes on the computer. I use the real ones.
After a day of heavy case management, how do you quiet your mind and transition back to home life?
Well, I always have an hour commute. So that helps. That helps. I think I call, most of the time I sit in my car and I just call my husband right away. And we just talk about, what we need to do for the kids and, that night and who's picking up whom and, all that stuff. So it happens automatically. But again, I listen to a lot of NPR. Sorry. On my way back home. Yeah.
And I know that you're not living in the Tri-Valley, but what would you say is your favorite spot to get a quick bite or a hot drink?
Well, everybody knows I love Whole Foods. I'll go and get anything in Whole Foods and I'll be okay.
Yes, their pizza is pretty fantastic. Thank you for putting me onto that.
I love them. And they're so inexpensive and really good and healthy and all that
This
stuff.
is not sponsored by Whole Foods.
Yeah, please don't. Yeah. I don't know. I guess Whole Foods. I mean, there are a couple of places here in this Republic Square. There's a really nice Vietnamese place that's where I get my pho. That's basically it. But I cook a lot, so because of so yeah.
Last question for you, because I know you've traveled to several places, which I love about you. If you could travel anywhere to recharge your batteries, where would you go?
Oh, God. I would go to Croatian Adriatic coast, like this very second, to an island where I lived for some time. So it's the most beautiful. I would just hide. I would throw away my cell phone. I would throw away my computer, and I would be there and buy local fish. And they make this... I could eat that anytime. It's Swiss chard, with a little bit of potatoes and garlic and a little bit of olive oil and then fish.
Nice.
And oh my God, you don't need anything else. Yeah, I would go to anywhere on the Croatian coast.
But if you throw away your phone, how are we supposed to get a hold of you?
That's the point. Nobody will get it. Not even my kids. Yeah.
Okay, we're finishing up the podcast now, but I want to ask you to please finish this sentence. Being a good neighbor means?
Being part of our community. And loving the community and hating the community and loving the community again.
The hating the community part. People sometimes think that it's going to be all butterflies and roses, but that's not a real relationship. There's going to be ups and downs.
Yeah. Community it has bad parts and good parts, and you just improve on bad parts, and then you complain, then you improve a little bit more, and then becomes better.
Beautiful. Before we let you go, is there anything you would like to say to our listeners?
Please expand Goodness Village. We need to help more people.
That was perfect. Our listeners need to know that.
Okay, sorry.
Rami, thank you for the way that you advocate for our neighbors on a daily basis and for all the expertise that you've brought to our village. We are so lucky, blessed, and grateful to have you here on our team. And as always, listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to The Good Pod, share this conversation with your community, and stay tuned for more stories. And remember, being a good neighbor isn't about where you live, it's about how you show up. Until next time. Thank you for listening to the Goodness Village podcast. Production and recording was done by the Goodness Village operations team with support from Crosswinds Church. Music was provided by Blue Dot Sessions. If you want to know more about Goodness Village, visit us at gvlivermore.org. Thanks again for listening to The Good Pod.